information.
And that holds over to, I don't care what walk of life you're going down. You're right. If we just pull together, we can accomplish so much more. And Peggy, I know that when we initially started our company, Patients Pride, and you were on the phone and you were trying to share, we had solutions, just like with your team, where you were trying to go and share and say, wait, we got the answer. We realized if we just group together, there's plenty of food for everyone. So when you were actually on the phone and trying to introduce our product, I know you were getting that door slammed a lot. And it wasn't necessarily anything personal with us, but it was just that whole, don't come in, we don't want to, what happened?
It was new, and they just were frustrated, absolutely frustrated, and so they just weren't open to it.
Mm-hmm. But by them not being open to it, I mean, so many of us lose by not keeping that ear open, and we're so afraid that, we're so used to shutting the door because we don't want harm to come in, that we shut it so tight that the good can't come in neither. And I think that this is a problem that we really got to start sharing our successes. And I think I want to just jump back over here to the financials aspects, because the whole point of this show this evening is to offer some type of solution or resolution to those that are dealing with a chronic illness that can't seem to get ahead because of the mountain of debt. I mean, I know we have government programs. I know that this is definitely not directly your line of expertise, but I do know that there are associations out there and foundations that are there designed to help. And can you shed any light on that, Donna?
No, because that's not really what I do. But what I do know is that we need to do what we're doing here. We need to talk about it. When it comes to money matters, people sometimes are ashamed of their financial situations, and that keeps them from engaging in conversation and asking for help. And what they don't realize is a lot of people are in the same boat. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are in the same situation, and healthcare alone could bankrupt this country, let alone individual families. And so we really do need to talk about these things and share what information there is. I'm sure there are plenty of organizations out there that can help, but we need to take the time and effort to find out where they are and talk about it with other people.
And what we're also finding is we seem to be ashamed to talk about our medical crisis. And I know, Peggy, you had mentioned that in the last show that we did, where it was our caregiver show, where they were ashamed to talk about we have a chronic illness or we have a financial situation. Isn't that right? I remember you were talking about that.
Absolutely. You don't want to tell your neighbor, oh, I'm broke and I'm scared about the bills, and you don't want to discuss that. But if they did discuss it openly and were humble about it, they realize most people are in the same boat.
It's like a double whammy, because you're maybe ashamed to talk about your health issue, then you're ashamed to talk about your financial issue. So there's two things that you might not feel comfortable talking about.
Exactly.
And that's a missed opportunity to learn.
Exactly.
So I guess then we really need to just start talking to each other more. And I say this every single show. We've got to share, we got to share, we got to share. But I guess we just, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. We just got to keep saying that and just keep, get our medical team involved. I know earlier you were talking about the team, social workers and whatnot. And a lot of our customers that do call, I know, Peggy, you always, when they can't afford, our product, you always direct them to go back to their social worker. And have you found that that's been working? And how would one... How do you approach that situation? I'm dealing with a chronic illness. I need some financial assistance. Can I just go knock on my social worker's door? Is that how it works?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's there. I mean, all the resources are there. Look, seek, and ye shall find. And a social worker, you have a nurse, you have a social worker. The social worker is going to help you with that. So we have to ask the questions. We have to do our own research. We have to be our own advocate, like you talked about before. And the social worker is fantastic for that. When we have patients that can't afford our product, and I usually say, you can't afford not to have our product, what they do is they say, go to the social worker. They go to the social worker, and the social worker will think outside the box and go to the Kidney Foundation. And then we'll get a check from the Kidney Foundation. There's grants out there. You go online, look at government grants. There's grants out there. But build your team. Build your team, your caregivers, your support system, your financial coaches, your nurses, your surgeons, your doctors, your friends. your social worker, build that team in every aspect of your life.
And I know earlier, Donna, we were talking about, you know, what we were saying, we have a lot of our customers will say, well, we can't afford that. And a lot of people I know say that to you when you go to coach them financially, and they say, well, I can't really afford this. And you always say, no, you can't afford not to have our services, because the bottom line is you need to start planning for your future, especially financially, because we all need to become financially independent so that we can get through a medical crisis.
A lot of people think that they need to have a lot of excess money laying around to seek financial advice. And the thing is, if you don't have a good plan when you don't have money, you won't have a good plan when you do have money. So that whole thing, well, I'll do this when I'm richer, when I'm skinnier, when I've got time, that day is never going to come. You've got to start now. Seek out the education now, seek out the advice now, get a plan together now to get you on the right road. And
you know, when I was growing up, the whole thing was they taught us that you can never start with so little. It's a penny. That's all it takes. And I remember there was a bank, and it was Hibernia Bank, and when you went in there and you opened up an account for, I think it was like $5, they gave you this little plastic bank, and they instructed us as kids to put a penny in it every day. And I know that there's this wild but yet true concept that you take a penny and what happens with the...
Okay, so if I offered you a penny today and 2 pennies tomorrow, 4 pennies the next day, then 8, then 16, and do that every day for 30 days, or $1,000 a day for 30 days, which would you rather have? Most people...
I would say $30,000.
Yeah, give me the $1,000 a day, thank you very much. Yeah. But if you go home and do the math and see what you end up with, you know, it's not very exciting in the beginning, but when you get into with the penny and then the doubling every day, towards the end, it's not until about day 21 where you surpass what you would have in day 21, the $21,000 over on the other side, but then you get big numbers doubling. And it's just in the last 10 days, things get very exciting, and you'll find that you end up with a lot more. So little amounts over long periods of time do add up.
Wow. And Donna, when do you want to start planning for long-term health care? When we go home and we bring our baby home, or when's the good time for that?